Good afternoon, children. Welcome to your I Learn English Literature class. Today we are going to begin with a new chapter, A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. So this is the 14th chapter in your textbook on page number 125. So I'll begin the chapter and I hope you will follow in your books. All of you follow the chapter in your books. And this is another, just like The Hobbit, this is another story which has been taken from a novel. This is only an extract in your book which has been taken from the novel A Wizard of Earthsea. And this is also based on the genre. This is fantasy. Okay, the genre of the story or the novel is also fantasy, just like The Hobbit was a fantasy novel, and similarly the Wizard of Earthsea is also in the genre of fantasy. So children, it is basically fantasy novels here are basically written for children. So it is children's literature, so that even adults read such books. Those who are interested in the genre, those who love fantasy and magic and reading about those things, they also read, the adults also read, but basically it is written to attract children. Okay, so it is a children's literature book, written, the novel has been written for children, and it has the genre fantasy because children have a very powerful imagination. They love such books where they can imagine things which are fictional. Fictional means which are not true, which are not there in reality, but it is the work of imagination. So the author has imagined few places, few characters which are not actually possible in reality or which do not exist in reality. So most of the characters and the places in these kind of novels you will see are imaginary places, imaginary characters, fictional characters which will not exist in real life. They may or may not exist in real life. Okay, so let us begin. A Wizard of Earthsea. Now, the novel has been written in 1968, is a novel written by the American author Ursula K. Le Guin and is regarded as a classic of fantasy and children's literature. So it is one of the classics of in the genre fantasy genre, because this Harry Potter and all series, this has come much later. So, Wizard of Earthsea was one of a kind novel written for children, and it was in the genre of fantasy, and it is regarded as a classic because these stories, it is very well written, and it is liked by people even today. So it has become a classic. It is read by people, liked by people all over the world even today. So such popular books are termed as classics, which are read from one generation to the other, which are passed on and which are enjoyed by all kinds of people. Okay, from all people from all walks of life enjoy reading such novels. Such novels are termed as classics. Set in the fictional archipelago or group of islands of Earthsea, the story centers around a young wizard named Duny, nicknamed Sparrowhawk, who was born in a village on the island of Gont. So the first word here is fictional. So I told you already that it is a fictional story, means imaginary. It is not real, unreal, imaginary situation, imaginary character. So fictional archipelago. Archipelago means a group of islands. And the name of this group of islands where this story is set is Earthsea. So you can be asked, where is this story set? This story is set in a group of islands or on an archipelago called Earthsea. The name of the group of islands was Earthsea. The story centers around, means the story revolves around its main character. The main character of the story was a young wizard. Young means not, he was a young boy. Okay, a wizard, a person who practices magic or a person who has magical powers is a wizard. Nicknamed. Nicknamed means a name given to a person who is very popular, or a familiar name, a name by which you can call a person, not his real name. It is not his real name, but it is a name given to a person out of affection or out of endearment. When you like a person out of affection, you give him some name, which is not his real name, but you like to call that person by that name. So this young boy who was a young wizard, a young magician, his nickname was Sparrowhawk. So when we hear the name Sparrowhawk, this itself arouses the curiosity of the children. It is such a name. Now, Sparrowhawk is a bird. Okay, it is a very elegant, small, docile looking bird, but it is at the same time, this bird is a hunter and it is a very efficient hunter. Okay, so it is a bird of prey, although it is looks like a sparrow. It is very elegant, beautiful looking, small looking, but it is a hunter bird. Therefore, the name of this bird is sparrowhawk. So we are immediately it arouses our curiosity. We want to read further why this boy was nicknamed Sparrowhawk. So we will come to know when we read the chapter why this boy called Duny, who was a young magician, was called Sparrowhawk, who was born in a village on the island of Gond. So one of the islands of Earthsea. Earthsea was a group of islands, and one of the islands was called Gond. And on this island, uh, Duny was born. Discovering that the boy has great power in him, his aunt, who herself is a witch, trains him in magic. So the story is all about this boy called Duny, who was later on nicknamed Sparrowhawk, who had that inherent power. So this was his inborn talent. He had an inherent power whereby, without even learning magic, he knew how to control things. He had that inherent inborn talent in him. And when his aunt discovers this talent of his, she decides that she would train him, she would give him formal training in magic. So this is the story. Now let us read. The island of Gaunt is a single mountain that rises a mile above Northeast Sea and is a land famous for wizards. So this extract, which has been taken from the novel A Wizard of Earthsea, you will, but if you have the chance to read the novel, you will understand, you will realize that this is the first chapter of the novel. The portion we are reading in our textbooks is the first chapter of the novel, and the first line itself will not let you keep your book down because it is such an intriguing line. The line says that there is an island. The name of the island is Gond, and it is a single mountain. So the island was a single mountain that rose a few mile means a measure of distance. A mile is used to measure distance. This island, which was a single mountain, it is rising a mile above the Northeast Sea. The Northeast Sea was a sea which was ravaged by storm. It was a very stormy sea. And this land was famous for wizards. So we will be so, the children, their curiosity will be aroused the moment they read this first line itself, because a land, an island, a fictional island, and this island was full of wizards. They are saying that the island was famous for wizards. That means there must be a lot of wizards on this island. From the towns in its high valleys to its narrow bays, many men have gone to serve the lords of the islands of Earthsea. So there were lots of towns in the valleys of this mountain. There were lots of towns, means cities, and there were narrow bays. Bays means a part of the coast where the land curves in. Write down, bays means a part of the coast where the land curves in. So in the valleys and in the bays, there were towns, there were cities. And in those cities, there were men who used to go to this island, Earthsea, to serve the lords of the islands of Earthsea, means to work for, to worship these lords, these gods of the islands of Earthsea, who were magicians, who were wizards, who were famous for their wizardry, who knew the powers of magic, to learn from them, to serve under them. Excuse me. in their cities as wizards or mage. Mage means magician. So these men used to go from these valleys and bays to the islands of Earth Sea to learn magic. And they used to serve under, or they used to learn under these wizards or magicians who used to live on the island of Earth Sea, or looking for adventure. Some of them used to go to learn, or some of them just used to go for the for adventure. Adventure means for some excitement. They used to go to the to Earth Sea to for some excitement, to see what these magicians do, to wander, working magic from isle to isle of all Earth Sea. To wander means to just roam around and see what magic was being performed. From isle to isle means from one island to another. You remember that Earth Sea was a group of islands. It was an archipelago. So men used to go there. One reason, first reason, to either serve the lords of the islands of Earth Sea. That means to either learn under them, to worship the lords, to learn under them, to become their disciples, to train in magic. Secondly, they used to go looking for some adventure, some excitement. And thirdly, there were people who used to go there just to wander around, to roam around, and as a tourist spot, as tourists, they used to travel from one island to another to observe the magic of the place. What do these magicians do? Just like that, they used to visit the isle. So Earth Sea was
Yes.
famous for as a land of wizards, where a lot of wizards and magicians used to practice uh, their art, their craft. So magic is also an art and craft which not ordinary people, no ordinary people can do. Everyone does not know have those powers of magic. So they used to go there. Of these, some say the greatest voyager was the man called Sparrowhawk. So in this first paragraph itself, we are introduced to Sparrowhawk. So of these means among all these people who used to go to Earth Sea, one of them was the greatest voyager. He's been called a greatest voyager, means traveler. The greatest traveler of them all who went to Earth Sea to learn was a man called Sparrowhawk. We already know that Sparrowhawk is a nickname that has been given to a young wizard. Now, the next paragraph describes his birth, his life, his family. So, the next paragraph you will see will be describing how this Sparrowhawk was born, where he was born, in what condition, and about his family. He was born in a lonely village called Ten Alders. So the name of the village where Sparrowhawk was born was Ten Alders. It is the name of the village where he was born. High on the mountain. So his village was high on the one of the mountains. The name he bore as a child, Duni, was given to him by his mother, and that and his life were all she could give him, for she died before he was a year old. So from this we come to know that the name he bore as a child means his childhood name. When he was born, his name was Duni. And this was the only thing which his mother could give him, because we come to know that his mother died when Duni was just 1 year old. His mother expired. Therefore, the only thing she could give her child was the name Duni. Okay. His father, the bronzesmith of the village, was a grim, unspeaking man, and since Duni's 6 brothers were much older than him, they went one by one from home to farm the land, or sail the sea, or work as a smith in other towns. So here we come to know about Duni's mother. We know that she expired when Duni was 1 year old, and all that she could do for Duni in that short period of 1 year was that she had kept his name. Okay. So now we come to know about the father and what he did. His father, Duni's father, was a bronzesmith. A bronzesmith is a person who works with bronze, the metal bronze, and turns it into artifacts. Artifacts means decorative items. Okay, a bronzesmith is a person who is the artisan who is skilled in the craft of turning bronze into beautiful artifacts, decorative materials. So his father was a bronzesmith of the village. And he was a grim means stern, serious, very serious and stern looking man. Unspeaking means a person who speaks very less. And since Duni had 6 brothers, okay, so all those 6 brothers were very like much older to Duni. That means they had a big age gap between them. Duni was the youngest, and all the 6 brothers were older than him. And what did they do? They went one by one from home to farm. So one by one, as they grew older, they had to do some work. So one by one, they either went to work on a farm as a farmer. To farm the land means to work as a farmer, or sail the sea, or one of them became a sailor, some of them became sailors and went to the sea, or work as a smith in other towns, or some of his brothers became bronzesmiths and they worked in other towns, not in the village where they were living. They went outside the village to work as a farmer, to work as sailors, to work as bronzesmiths in other towns. So this was about his family. Hence, there was no one to bring the child up in tenderness. So this line, the author is sympathizing with the child Duni. He was motherless. His mother had died. His father was a bronzesmith, and he was a person who spoke very little. He was very stern and serious person also. And the 6 brothers were all out of home. They had all gone out on work, and there was therefore no one to bring this boy up with love, with tenderness. If your mother is not there, who will bring you with care, with love, the affection? So the father was busy working, the brothers were busy in their own jobs, and there was no one to take care of this small boy. Therefore, what happened to Duni? What was the result of this? What was his childhood like if he had no one to take care of him, no one to give him love and affection? What happened to this boy? He grew wild. He grew wild means he was growing just like a thriving weed, a tall, quick boy, loud and proud and full of temper. So what happened? This boy, with no one to take care of him, just like a weed. Weed means unwanted plants. So there are some plants which you take care of, and so they grow under your care and affection, and the gardener looks after those plants properly. They have healthy leaves, healthy flowers, healthy fruits. But this boy, just like a weed, was growing wildly. Nobody was there to take care of him, nobody to educate him, nobody to teach him manners, nobody to tell him what is right, what is wrong. So just like a weed, he was growing. Thriving weed means fast growing weed. Okay, this boy was growing wildly. Okay, and he was growing, he grew into a very tall boy. Quick means very sharp. He had a sharp mind, loud and proud. He was very proud of himself. He was growing up into a very tall, quick, and a loud, proud boy, and full of temper means he had a very bad he was growing with passion, but at the same time, since there was no one to tell him what to do, what exactly his behavior should be, so he was growing wildly into a boy who had no manners, who had full of passion, but at the same time he was quick learner and everything, but he was growing wildly. He did not know any manners. He did not want to sit in one place. He roamed around from here to there with no one to take care of him or tell him what to do, how to make his life good. Along with other children of the village, he herded goats on the steep meadows above the river springs. And when he was strong enough to push and pull the long bellow sleeves, his father made him work as a smith's boy at a high cost in blows and whippings. So what does this line mean? Now, as he grew up, he was given the job of going to the meadows. Meadows means grasslands where there was grass. He used to take his sheep along to herd. Okay, so all of you know what herding a sheep means. It means to take your sheep along to eat grass on the meadows. So like other children of the village, Duni was also given the task of shepherding the goats to the meadows. And steep means rising sharply. So there was meadows which were rising sharply above the river springs, and he was sent there to take care of the sheep, to feed the sheep. And when he was strong enough, that means when he grew a little bit more stronger, to push and pull the long bellow sleeves. Now, bellow sleeves is a hand manual machine which is worked, is used by bronze smiths, okay, to start a fire. So when he was strong enough that it is a hand operated machine, okay, to make the fire burn brightly, it is used by bronze smiths. So when this boy became strong enough to operate this bellow sleeves, his father asked him to help him in his shop. Okay, his father asked Duni that now you're strong enough to operate this bellow sleeve, so you better work with me as my helper. As a smith's boy means as his helper, as his apprentice. So he thought that he will teach Duni his craft. That means he will teach him how to make articles out of bronze. Because the father also saw that the boy was not learning anything, he was just growing wildly. He had nothing, he was not learning any skill, any craft. So he made him work for him as an apprentice, as a helper. Now this line, this clause means at a high cost in blows and whippings. Whippings means caning. Blows means hits. He was getting blows from his father because his mind was wavering. He was a boy who did not want to stay in one place, and he used to wander around, roam around everywhere. And when his father made him work for him, it was very hard to get any work done out of Duni because he did not want to work as a bronzesmith, and therefore he used to get beatings from his father. This was the cost he was paid, okay, for working in the shop. There was not much work to be got out of Duni. He was always off and away. The phrase underline off and away means he was always roaming around. He could not sit in one place. So it was very difficult to get any work done out of him because he was not a boy who would like to sit in one place and learn something. He was always off and away means he was always out. He was always roaming around. Roaming deep in the forest, swimming in the cold pools of the river Ar. This is the name of the river which was flowing there. This is another fictional river. Or climbing the steep mountains above the forest from where he could see the sea. So if you are asked a question, what were the things Duni engaged himself in? So these were the things. What did he used to do? He used to wander around inside forest. He used to go deep inside the forest. He used to swim in the cold waters of the river Ar. And he loved climbing the steep mountains, sharply rising mountains above the forest, from where he could have a look at the sea. Okay, so these were the things he used to love doing. A sister of his dead mother lived in the village. So a sister of his dead mother means it was Duni's aunt. Duni's aunt, who was his maternal aunt because she was his dead mother's sister. She also lived in the same village. She had done what was needful for him as a baby, but she had business of her own, and once he could look after himself, she paid no more heed to him. So she had come to help to raise this boy Duni when his mother died. So when Duni's mother died, this aunt had come over and she had looked after Duni till the time he could be independent. Only as a baby, she had helped to raise him when he was a baby. But she had her own business, own job, own course to do. And once she saw that Duni could look after himself, she left him. And then after that, she had paid no more attention to this boy. Okay. So she had done what was needful for him as a baby means as a baby, whatever was required to do to be done as a baby, the child is helpless. It cannot say when it wants to eat, when it wants to do other things. So therefore, this aunt looked after the Duni till the time he was a baby, but she had business of her own, but she had her own job, own course, own business to attend to. And once he could look after himself, once Duni was big enough to look after himself, she left him, and after that she never turned back to see how he was doing. No heed means no attention to him. But one day when the boy was 7 years old, untaught and knowing nothing of the arts and powers that are in the world, he heard his aunt crying out words to a goat which had jumped up onto the thatch of a hut and would not come down. So one day what happened when this boy Juni was 7 years old, untaught means uneducated, not received any formal education, and he did not know anything about the arts and powers that are in the world. Arts and powers here are referring to the arts of magic, the powers of magic. He knew nothing about magic till then. Till the age of 7, he had no knowledge, neither any formal kind of education he had, nor did he have any knowledge of the island he was living in, where there was a lot of magical powers, magical spells, magical training being given, and people knew magic. Those also he was unaware of. Till the age of 7, he had no knowledge about these arts. He heard his aunt crying. So one day he heard his aunt crying out some words, speaking out loudly, crying out some words to a goat which had climbed on to the top of a roof. Thatch of a hut means the goat had climbed on atop the roof of a hut. So his aunt wanted to bring the goat down. In order to bring the goat down from the roof, she cried out some words because the goat was not coming down. However, it came jumping when she cried a certain rhyme to it. So this tells us that this aunt of Duni knew she was a witch. She knew she had powers. She knew spells. She knew magic, and she was a witch. From this line we come to know, because the goat was not coming down from the roof. But when the aunt recited a rhyme or some spell, Duni thought that it was a rhyme, but actually she must have cried out a spell, and hearing which the goat had come down from the roof. The next day, herding the long-haired goats in the meadows, Duni shouted to them the words he had heard, not knowing their use or meaning or what kind of words they were. Nothar Thamak man, Hyol Khan Mirthan. So he did not know what these words meant, but he had heard his aunt the previous day shouting these words to the goat who had climbed on top of the hut. So he had heard his aunt reciting these words to the goat, and therefore he had memorized these words. And when the next day he went out to take his goats to the meadows, okay, when he took out the goats, the long-haired goats, to the meadows, he shouted the same words to them which he had heard his aunt crying out to the goat the previous day. He did not know what was the use of these words. He did not understand the meaning of these words, but still, since he had seen that the goat had come down, and when the aunt recited, he thought it must be something. He let me also try. So he wanted to try out the rhyme. In order to try out the rhyme, he repeated the words, or he shouted out the words to his own goats. He yelled the rhyme aloud, and the goats came to him. So what happened when he yelled, or when he shouted out those words that rhymed to his goats? The goats were all scattered, eating grass on the meadows. And suddenly, when he shouted the rhyme, when he cried out, when he repeated the rhyme, all the goats came towards him, near him. They came very quickly, all of them together, not making any sound. So not making any sound is very important here, because the spell, the magic spell had been cast. They were under a spell. All of the goats, when they heard that rhyme, they were cast under a spell. Okay, so they were under a spell of magic. Therefore, without making any kind of sound, all of them quickly came near this boy Duni. They looked at him out of the dark slot in their yellow eyes. Dark slot means the dark portion of their eyes were yellow, and the dark portion, the eyeballs, were dark, and they looked at him very strangely. Their eyes looked at him very strangely. So this shows that they were under a spell. So when you try to hypnotize people, when you cast a magic spell on someone, so what happens? These goats were all under his spell, and they came quickly near him, and they were looking at him with strange eyes. Duni laughed and shouted it out again. So Duni was very happy that he was able to recite the poem, learn the poem, repeat the poem, and it had some effect on his goats. So he was, at first, he was very happy. He laughed and he repeated the rhyme again. The rhyme that gave him power over the goats. So he thought that he had gained some kind of power over the goats by this rhyme. By repeating this rhyme again, he wanted to know what would happen, since he realized that this rhyme gave him some kind of power over these goats. So he wanted to repeat it. He kept repeating the rhyme. And what happened to the goats? They came closer, huddling and pushing around him. So the number of times he repeated the rhyme, the goats kept coming closer and closer to the boy. Huddling means crowding, and suddenly they were so close to him that they were pushing him. All at once he felt afraid of their thick, ridged horns and their strange eyes and their strange silence. Now, first he was having fun, but now it was fun no longer. When the goats came very close to him and looked at him strangely, and their horns, their thick, ridged means raised horns, and their strange eyes were looking at him with a strange kind of silence in their eyes, and the horns were nearly going to prick him. They had come so close to him, but now he felt this was not fun any longer. That was one time when they came so close to him, he realized that this was no longer fun, and he was scared now. He tried to get free of them and to run away. The goats ran encircling him and keeping in a knot around him. So what happened? He tried to run away from them. He thought that he would be able to get away from them, but that was not possible. The more he ran, the goats also ran in a circle around him. Encircling him means they were around him, all around him. He was running and the goats were running along with him, encircling him, keeping them inside, uh, surrounding him, and keeping in a knot, like a close knot. They were around him. They did not leave his side. They were so close to him. He ran towards the village, and the goats too came charging down, huddled together as if a rope was pulled tight round them. And the boy in the midst of them started weeping and screaming. So he ran towards the village now for help. And the goats also came along with him. It was like they were huddled together. They were so close together to each other and to him. And as if it was looking like as if a rope was pulling them all. Rope was tied tightly around them, and they were all running together. It was looking like as if a rope had been tied along all the goats and Duni, and they were all running like a knot together towards the village. And in the middle of that huddle, in the middle of that crowd of goats, this boy Duni, he started crying and he started screaming for help, shouting. Weeping means crying, screaming means shouting for help. Villagers ran from their houses to swear at the goats and laugh at the boy. So swear at the goats means curse the goats. So villagers came out of their houses when they saw this scene. They were making fun. They were swearing at the goats and they were laughing at the boy also. They did not know. No one knew what had happened, why they were behaving like this, why the goats were not leaving this boy, because no one would have expected a small 7-year-old boy to know magic. So they were all surprised and laughing and cursing the goats also. Among them came the boy's aunt, who did not laugh. So among all the villagers, the aunt also came out, and when she saw this situation Duni was in, she did not laugh because she understood what had happened. She knew what had happened because the previous day itself she had recited the rhyme in front of the boy. She had laid a spell on the particular goat who had climbed up on the roof of the house, and she understood that this boy must have used her rhyme, used her charm to cast a spell on his goats. She understood that. So she was not laughing. She said a word to the goats, and the beasts began to bleat and browse and wander, being freed from the spell. So only a word, because Duni had learned how to cast a spell on the goat, but he had not learned how to get rid of the spell, how to rid the goat from the spell, how to bring the goat out of the spell. He had not learned that. That is why the goats kept following him strangely. They were crowding around him. As many times as he repeated the rhyme, they kept coming closer and closer to him. He had learned how to gain power over the goats, but he had not learned how to release them, from his spell. He had not learned that. So what did the aunt do? The aunt released the goats from the spell. Beasts here refer to the goats because they were, at that moment, the goats were looking like beasts with their horns and strange silent eyes, strangely looking at the boy. So she released them from the spell, and once she released them from the spell, they began to bleat again. They began to make sounds like normal goats do. Remember, these goats which were under a spell were not even making a sound. There was silence. And when they were out of the spell, they began bleating. And browse means to walk around leisurely, and wander means roam. Being freed from the spell means the magic spell. Okay. Come with me, she said to Duni. She took him into her hut where she lived alone. She let no child enter there usually, and the children feared that place as they knew she was a witch. So after she had freed the goats from the spell, she asked Duni to come inside, to come with her, to go with her inside her hut. So she lived alone in that hut, and children were not allowed inside the hut, and the children were scared also. No child had entered her hut before. They were afraid of the place because they all knew that Duni's aunt was a witch. It was low and dusky, windowless, fragrant, with various herbs that hung drying from the cross pole of the roof. So this is the description of the aunt's hut. Underline and you can write down, this is the description of the aunt's hut. It was low means it did not have a very high ceiling. It was a low hut with a low ceiling. Dusky means dark. It was very dark. Why was it dark? Because it was windowless. There were no windows in the hut. Fragrant means smelling, sweet smell of the herbs that hung around. So she used to practice magic. So she had all kinds of herbs in her hut. Okay, so she used to hang those herbs from a cross pole. Cross pole means a beam used to support the hut, support the roof of the hut. So that from that beam, she used to hang all her herbs, and therefore the hut was smelling of those herbs. The smell of those herbs was there in that hut. There his aunt sat cross-legged by the fire pit and looking sidelong at the boy through the tangles of her black hair. She asked him what he had said to the goats and if he knew what the rhyme was. So there the aunt, when she brought the boy inside the hut, she sat down cross-legged in front of the fire pit. Fire pit, please underline and write down. A fire pit is a pit or a hole. A pit or a hole dug into the ground. D-U-G, dug. A pit or a hole dug into the ground on which a fire is made. On which a fire is made. So there was a fire pit inside her hut. You know that mostly magicians and all these sages who practice magic, black magic, they have a place where they make fire. So she sat in front of that fire pit and looking sidelong means sideways. She looked sideways at this boy, Duni, and through the tangles of her black hair. Tangles means mass of hair which is uncombed. Her hair was not combed. It was in a mass. Okay, mass of hair which is twisted together. Okay, she asked him what he had said to the goats. She asked him, what had you said to the goats? And did he know what was meant by what he said? Okay, did he know the meaning of what he had said to the goats? First of all, she asked her, what did you say to the goats? And secondly, she asked her, did he know the meaning of what he had said to the goats? When she found that he knew nothing and yet had spellbound the goats to come to him and follow him, then she saw that he must have in him the makings of power. So when she realized that neither did Duni know what the rhyme was, nor did he know what the rhyme meant, and yet he was able to bind the goats with that spell, under his spell, yet he was able to bring the goats under his spell. Spellbound means bewitch the goats, hold the goats under a spell. So in spite of not knowing anything about magic, Dooney, just by memorizing the few lines which he had heard his aunt speaking, was able to bring the goats under his power, under his control. When she and follow him, she came to know this. She realized that this boy must have some power, some inherent power, some inherent talent for magic. So underline must have in him the makings of power. Must have in him the makings of power means this boy must have some inherent inborn talent for magic. Write down some inherent, I-N-H-E-R-E-N-T, I-N-H-E-R-E-N-T, inherent talent, inherent power within himself to learn magic. As her sister's son, he had been nothing to her, but now she looked at him with a new eye. So she did not care about this boy till now, because he was for her, he was just her sister's son. So she did not care about him that much. But today, when she saw this talent in him, she looked at him in a new light. New eye means in a new light. She had another way of looking at him now. She looked at him with another perspective. She praised him and told him she might teach him rhymes such as the word that makes a snail look out of its shell, or the name that calls a falcon down from the sky. So she told him, she praised him. First of all, she praised him. She said that you have some talent, don't know also, you are unaware of your talent. You have an inborn talent which you are unaware of. If you can cast a spell on some animals without even knowing the meaning of the spell, that means you have some talent. So first of all, she praised him. Secondly, she told him that she would teach him. What would she teach him? She would teach him words which would make a snail look out of its shell. That means she would teach him the magical words which would make him gain power over a snail. A snail would come out of its shell, and a name, she would teach him other words, other spells, other magic, which will call a falcon. A falcon is another bird of prey, a hunter bird. She will teach him words, she will teach him magic, which will make a falcon come down from the sky. I, teach me that name. I means yes, I want to learn. He was very excited. He said, yes, teach me that name means those words, those magical spells. Yes, I want to learn those magical names, magical words. He said confidently. So he was very confident that he would learn, getting over the fright and goat that the goats had given him, and puffed up with her praise of his cleverness. So he was very confident after receiving praise from his aunt. He said that he was willing to learn what she wanted to teach him, and he had now got over the scare which the goats had given him. He was very scared when the goats came so close to him and they would not leave him. But now, after hearing to those words from his aunts of praise, words of praise, he was now looking very confident, and he said, yes, please teach me. Puffed up means swollen with pride. His chest was swollen with pride at hearing the praise of his aunt, because she said that he was very clever. He had some inborn talent. He had some inherent power. So he was very swollen with pride. His chest was swollen with pride, puffed up. The witch said to him, you will not ever tell that word to the other children if I teach it to you. So the witch gave him a warning that I will teach you on the condition that you will not tell my magical spells to other children. You will not convey what I teach you. Not even a single word of what I teach you will you tell the other children. So he was only a 7-year-old boy. Imagine, it is very difficult at this age to keep a secret from your friends. But the witch said that I will teach you only on the condition that you will not share it with anyone else. I promise, said the boy. So the boy promised that he will not share it with anyone else. So today we will do the story till here.